You are Locked On Nuggets POSTCAST, powered by Mile High Sports, part of Locked On Sports Denver on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
It is your Locked On Nuggets postcast. What is going on, Nuggets Nation, as the fellas get a much-needed bounce-back dub here on this Sunday evening, taking down a red-hot Houston Rockets team here tonight. Your final score, 116-111. And guys, today's episode of your Locked On Nuggets postcast is brought to you by our friends over at Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off of your first year. More from our friends over at Monarch Money here in just a little bit. But just what the doctor ordered tonight from the Denver Nuggets. No Nikola Jokic once again. And I was keeping tabs on the game on Friday, but I was at an event for work, and I didn't see how the game ended. And it's like late at night, I'm with a couple of buddies, right? We're kind of just talking ball, whatever it might be. I'm like, wait. They lost to the Portland Trailblazers? Had to go back, watch the highlights, look at the box score, look at the stats. And I mean, this Denver Nuggets team is hard to get a read on, folks. And, you know, Mike Malone, you saw in the post-game press conference after the loss to Portland, ripping into his guys. I caught Jamal Murray here on my TV just before I got started here on the show as well, talking about how, you know, they played with a little bit of desperation tonight. You know, Nikola Jokic likely not going to play tomorrow night as well against the Chicago Bulls. We'll see if that ends up being the case. And we'll talk a little bit about Jokic and his status moving forward this season as we get closer towards the end of the show here. Not the best outlook for Jokic, I'll put it that way. So stick around, give you my thoughts, some opinions on that in regards to what's going on with the big fella. But as it pertains to tonight's game, that is exactly what you wanted to see from this Denver Nuggets team minus Nikola Jokic. We saw them beat Golden State without Murray and Jokic last week, and then a couple of wacky games, blowout loss to Los Angeles, bad game against Portland on Friday. So kind of an interesting road trip here for Denver, but they bookend it with a win, started it with a win, and bookend it with a win here with that 116-111 dub over the Houston Rockets. And let's get into our player of the game segment, because one guy in particular rose to the occasion.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
Surprise to nobody, your player of the game here tonight on your Locked On Nuggets postcast is Mr. Jamal Murray. 38 minutes played tonight for Jamal. He put up 39 points. Uber aggressive tonight after you saw him a little bit, I don't want to say lackadaisical, but just maybe not hunting for his shot, not as aggressive as you would have liked to see from Jamal Murray in that loss on Friday against Portland. Tonight, 15 of 28 from the field, 4 of 6 from 3, 5 of 6 from the charity stripe, adds in 7 assists, grabs 4 rebounds as well, and a team high plus 19 tonight for Jamal in the box plus minus. So he is without a doubt your player of the game, as he really helped set the tone early in this one. I know Denver got off to a bit of a funky start there early in the first quarter. They ended up coming out tied at the end of the first quarter, 27-27. But Jamal, all game long, from the first quarter to the very end there, and it felt like that last minute took forever, hunting his shot, setting his players up with different playmaking opportunities as well, and just playing like the Jamal Murray that this Denver Nuggets team is going to need come playoff time if they want to have a chance. I'm not going to sound like a broken record. I'll save those thoughts for the end of the show about this team's playoff outlook obviously with Nikola Jokic. I don't think, fingers crossed, anything can happen, but the expectation is he'll be ready to go come playoff time. I mean, he'd probably want to be playing right now. He probably would be playing right now if it was his decision, if we're being honest with ourselves. But Denver opting to hold him out here for the last handful of games, try to get him ready and healthy for the NBA postseason. But that's where there's a lot more pressure on a guy like Jamal Murray. And did he deliver tonight, man? Again, a team high 39 points. And I think he did a good job of just, he put up 22, I believe, in the last game against Houston. And, so this is a team that he's had some success against here recently as well. And, you just can't have one of those games where it's like Murray layup, Porter shot, Gordon, right? Like, you want to try to get everybody involved. But, Nikola Jokic is the straw that stirs the drink for this Denver Nuggets team. And so when he's not out there, you've got to figure out a way to, pass the totem pole, for lack of a better phrase, and find somebody 9 times out of 10, it's got to be Jamal Murray to step up in his place. And obviously that game against the I forget what I was saying. Against the Golden State Warriors is what I was talking about. Let me put my phone on Do Not Disturb so I don't get a text message that distracts me. But, point being, you needed that tonight from Jamal. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And Look, he's been pretty good. He's been pretty good since 2025. Even go back to the last few weeks there of 2024. And against the team in Houston, let's check out their record here. They're 46-26 right now as Houston. But they've been surging as of late, man. I believe a 9-game win streak for them entering into this matchup. Not really many quality wins over that stretch, much like Denver's win streak there about a month ago as well. They took care of the Pelicans twice. The Magic, okay, decent win. Suns, Mavericks, Bulls, 76ers, Magic again, and the Miami Heat. So, this was kind of the first real gut check game for Houston, who was riding high entering into this matchup. And again, just a typical bounce back spot for the Denver Nuggets. And considering how they lost to Portland, the loss to the Lakers as well, I understand that Nikola's not out there, but they have got to figure out a way to tread water. And I don't even want to say flip the switch and figure out ways to win games consistently without Jokic, just because of how hard that is to do, because of how important he is to this team. But you've got to figure out a way to be competitive, right? And you look at that game against Portland, you look at that game against Los Angeles, and you're scratching your head like that game on Wednesday against the Lakers was tough. I mean, it's like you wanted to wash your eyes out with soap after watching that game, if we're being honest with ourselves here. And so, all in all, it is a nice 116-111 dub for the Denver Nuggets led by Jamal Murray. Another guy who you got to talk about in this game as well. How about DeAndre Jordan, man? Only his third start of the season. He played 38 minutes tonight. And look, you need to be able to call on DJ every now and again. And I'll never forget, I think it was his introductory press conference with the Nuggets, because if memory serves me correct, his first year with Denver was the year in which they won the chip. And I'll never forget sitting in the media room. They bring the players out one by one, or, sometimes it's a couple players on the stage or whatever it might be. And DJ was asked a question along the lines of like, so, you're kind of this veteran mentor type role in your NBA career. Like, how do you plan to, play that role and serve that purpose with this Denver Nuggets team? And DJ kind of just was like, I can still play, I can still hoop. And tonight DJ did his thing, man. 38 minutes. Again, only his third start of the season. I mean, a double Jordan left in the glass tonight with 15 rebounds, dished out a few assists as well, had a steal. So DeAndre Jordan turning back the clock as best as he can and put forth a quality effort tonight as well, which helps Denver secure this 116-111 victory. So we'll talk a little Russell Westbrook as well in this game. He ended up fouling out there late, put up 14 points. Russ. I mean, there was a couple sequences there, though, where it's like, bad turnover, jumping in the air without a plan, trying to dish the ball out too late. That gets deflected and stolen. And then I think it was Steven Adams who got the ball back, driving down towards the basket. I mean, a free layup is kind of the easiest way that I would put it. And Russ ends up slapping him on the wrist on his way up and gets him a free throw attempt on top of the N1, or, to make it an N1 rather. And, that's the one thing that you kind of see the Nuggets get exposed a little bit without Jokic is, look, and Russ has been playing a lot this season. Nothing, that's just kind of the reality situation. But I got to remind myself with Russ, man, you got to take the good with the bad. You got to take the good with the bad. He's been better for the Nuggets than he has been the Rockets, the Clippers, the Lakers, the Wizards. I don't really count because there was nobody on that team. So this is still the best version of Russell Westbrook that we've seen the last 4 or 5 seasons or so. But there was just a couple of moments throughout this game. And again, I don't want to complain too much in a win, but just erratic. I think that's the one way that you describe Russell Westbrook's play. You love the intensity. You love the hustle. You love the energy. But, there's some times with Russell Westbrook, man, you kind of just have to hold your breath and hope it goes out all right. I mean, he means well. His intentions are good. But it's one of those situations where sometimes it's an interesting watch. I'll put it that way. But again, he did score 14 points tonight. Only grabbed a couple of rebounds, so you want to see him improve that. But he did have 2 blocks as well, 24 minutes, did foul out. So uber aggressive Russell Westbrook here in the game tonight for Denver. But it is a 116-111 dub for the fellas. As I always like to say, go ahead and drop some comments, guys. I'm the host of the show, but you, the fans, the listeners, are the ones that help me drive the conversation. Getting closer and closer to playoff time here, and we'll be locked in right here on your Locked On Nuggets postcast. You can also follow me on social media at Media by AP. But okay, let's hit a quick break. When we come back, let's talk a little bit more about Jamal Murray. We'll get into Michael Porter Jr. and the rest of the starters, and an injury update on one Nikola Jokic, as he and the Nuggets need him back sooner rather than later. All right, we'll hit a quick break, come back, and do just that right here on your Locked On Nuggets postcast. All right, you guys, real quick, let me tell you about our friends over at Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So you just stop managing your money and start building wealth. When I started using Monarch, I realized just how much I was spending on food delivery. Now I budget smarter and save more. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch Money to check your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals. Managing money with your partner is smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off of your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNBA for half off your first year. Be sure to check out our friends over at Monarch Money and let them know that Locked On Nuggets sent you. Okay, welcome on back into your Locked On Nuggets postcast. I'm your host, Aniello Piro. Really appreciate y'all rocking with me on YouTube. As always, if you could do me a favor, hit that like button, smash that subscribe button as well. That way you guys never, ever miss an episode of your Locked On Nuggets postcast. Denver tonight victorious in a big way. You know, this was a game that Denver was a little bit over a 2-1 underdog. I was checking the odds before the game here tonight, and I was wondering, you know, what does it look like with no Nikola Jokic out there and a surging Rockets team? And Denver comes through with an upset victory. They improve now to 45-27 on the season. Houston falls to 46-26, and this is a matchup. I believe they have Houston. It's the final game of the year here. Let's check this out real quick. But this is a game that's going to have some implications on seeding potentially for sure. And yeah, final game of the year, Sunday, April 13th, regular season game that is, against the Houston Rockets once again and Houston. So these two teams will see each other once again as they both kind of put the finishing touches there on their regular season. Hopefully, Nikola Jokic will be back in that lineup. We'll talk about the big fella here in just a moment. But a couple of big takeaways from this game. We'll go into some of the stats of the other guys. Obviously, Jamal Murray, our player of the game here tonight as well. But Michael Porter Jr. put up 17 tonight, grabbed 9 rebounds. So 1 rebound shy of a double-double for MPJ. Aaron Gordon, a kind of quiet night offensively from a scoring perspective. 13 points tonight for Aaron Gordon, but dished out 8 assists and grabbed 4 rebounds. And you saw him, you know, especially with DeAndre Jordan out there, you know, playing a little bit more, I don't know if aggressive is the right word, but a little bit more tactical, a little bit more of, you know, you saw him pointing out, you know, open players, whatever it might be. So liked the approach tonight from Aaron Gordon, and really just nice to see AG healthy out there tonight as well. 1 of 3 tonight from 3. And again, 13 points to go along with those 8 assists. Christian Brown adds 11 points. He has 4 rebounds, a couple of assists as well. So he does his thing. And off the bench tonight, Russell Westbrook, as I mentioned, the leading scorer for Denver with 14. Peyton Watson adds 9, including a nice corner 3. He's been butter from the corner 3 this season. And Zeke Naji with a couple of points as well. So pretty tight rotation for Michael Malone, despite being out Nikola Jokic. But they get it done tonight, 116-111. Let's get into a turning point here that I picked up on in this game.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
And looking at some of the stats and then kind of just confirming what the eye test told us here tonight, I mean, this is incredible. Guess how many fast break points the Denver Nuggets conceded tonight on defense? How many fast break points did the Denver Nuggets give up in this game? If your guess is 0, you're correct. No fast break points allowed for the Denver Nuggets here tonight, which is just absolutely sensational. So they do a good job there, does Denver. They also, typical Denver Nuggets fashion, did not take a high volume amount of three-point shots tonight. Only 21 three-point shots, but they knock in 10 of those 21. That's good for 47.6%. Houston added 34 shot attempts of their own. They only hit 11. So you do the math there. Obviously a big advantage in the 3-point shooting tonight from Denver with that 47.6% mark compared to just 32.4% there for Houston as well. And they got, you know, beat on the rebounding battle today, 45-43, but those 0 fast break points allowed was key, because a couple other big stats, they were neck and neck in. I mean, points in the paint, Denver had 52 compared to 50 for Houston, gave you the 3-point percentage. They both shot, you know, Denver shot better from the field than Houston did, 50% for Denver, 44 for 87 compared to 39 for 89 for Houston in this matchup as well. I mentioned the rebounding battle. Assists were close, 28 for Denver, 25 for Houston as well. So, you know, to me, that transition defense and the ability to get out there and slow down this Houston Rockets team is ultimately what helped make a difference in this one for sure. I mean, looking at the shooting night tonight for the Houston Rockets, Jalen Green ends up putting up 30 points, but only 3 of 12 from 3. Fred VanVleet coming off a good game against Miami, I want to say. He scored 30-plus points in that game. He's held to 7 tonight from Denver. Dillon Brooks puts up 21, 5 of 8 from 3. But for the most part, being able to limit Jalen Green from 3 and limiting Fred VanVleet in general, he was 1 of 8 from 3 and only 7 points. That is key, absolutely critical for the Denver Nuggets in this victory here tonight. So you'll love to see it. And let's take a look here at the upcoming schedule for the fellas as we are getting down to it here, folks. Only a handful of games remaining this season. And really kind of looking at this road trip as a whole, a quick little 4-game roadie. 2 awesome games and 2 really bad games is the easiest way to put it. I mean, that win against Golden State on Monday was epic. 114-105. No Jokic, no Murray, no problem. And then you kind of expected them to lose to the Lakers. At least I did. But they got stomped in that one, man. I mean, that game was over in the first quarter, 120-108. And then the worst loss of the road trip is somehow losing to Portland 128-109. But they bounced back and bookend this road trip with a 116-111 dub. And now looking up at the upcoming schedule here, folks, tomorrow, second night of a back-to-back. At home, though, Denver's got the Chicago Bulls, the kind of new-look Chicago Bulls team after the trade deadline. We'll see what they can do there. Should get a dub. Looks like Nikola Jokic will not play in that game as well. Then they got Milwaukee on Wednesday at home, so Giannis coming to town. Then you've got Utah on Friday. So 2 of the next 3 games, you should feel pretty good about the Denver Nuggets' chances, assuming they play up to the level in which you expect them to. And that sets up a game a little over a week from today, Tuesday, April the 1st, rematch at home against the Minnesota Timberwolves, a team that has been a thorn in the Nuggets' side for essentially a year now. So that's your little 4-game sample size, 4-game upcoming schedule here for the Denver Nuggets. Chicago tomorrow, Milwaukee Wednesday, Utah on Friday, and Minnesota in about a week here as well. And then real quick before we get out of here, an injury update on Nikola Jokic. Injuries suck. The ankle is bothering him for sure. And like I said, I think if this is a playoff situation, if this is a playoff series, I think Jokic is out there. I mean, he's been hobbled all year. It's not like this isn't something that just popped up. This is something that's been bothering Nikola Jokic all season. He's also got the wrists, right? We've seen the scratches on his arms. So, he's been playing through some injuries for sure. And so while I was initially, when Jokic was ruled out for the last handful of games, I initially kind of sat back and I was like, all right, like some maintenance, get this guy a night off. He's probably not going to win MVP. Not that they care about that necessarily. I subscribe to that thought. I subscribe to whatever thought it is that gets Nikola Jokic healthy and ready to go for the NBA playoffs. But this is something that's really bothering him, folks. He's pretty banged up right now. And, I know that Jokic is this, kind of silent leader, this silent warrior that you don't really hear him complain about anything. And nor do I think we've seen him complain about the injuries as well. Again, if this is a playoff series, I think he's out there playing. But just keep an eye on Nikola Jokic because he can mask an injury with triple-double after triple-double after triple-double. But the fact that he's missed, 4 games in a row for Nikola? I think he last played against, what was that? Washington. Yeah, and that loss about a week ago. Actually, 8 days ago, last Saturday. Ever since then, man, you put up 40 in that game. Again, 4 games off in a row. No game Monday, no game Wednesday, no game Friday, and now Sunday. So essentially a week off right now for Nikola Jokic. Again, just hold your breath a little bit. I think he'll be okay come playoff time, but it is one of those situations where you kind of sit back and say, what's going on here? How hurt is he truly? Obviously, I think he's good enough to play. I think this is Denver just being precautious, but definitely just something to keep an eye on here. And I saw before I started the show, he is unlikely to play tomorrow night as well. Read into that if you want. Do with it as you may. But Nikola Jokic is banged up right now. And I'll kind of leave it with this. As great of a win as it was tonight for Denver, they are not getting out of the first round if Nikola Jokic is not playing. And I'm not saying that's going to be the case. I do think he's going to be playing. But even if he is playing, he's going to be hobbled. But it's one of those situations where you look at it, okay, well, but if he misses another 3 games in a row, 2 games in a row, like what does the conversation become? Again, I don't want to, speak in hypotheticals like that, but it is interesting that he's missed this many games in a row, considering how tough he is typically in regards to playing through injuries. But all right, man, why don't we end it on a high note? What a good win tonight for the fellas, 116-111. The Denver Nuggets are victorious over the Houston Rockets. Good bounce back performance for the Denver Nuggets following that ugly game against Portland on Friday. Denver now 45-27 on the year, come home to Ball Arena, 2-2 on the road trip. Shout out Jamal Murray, shout out DeAndre Jordan. Dubs all around tonight for the Denver Nuggets as they get the job done without the big fella. And now we'll look to win on the second night of back-to-back, a situation in which they've been pretty darn good this season with the Chicago Bulls coming to town. Michael Jordan, Chicago Bulls. I got the poster up there. Tomorrow night should be a fun one. But all right, that is going to do it for me, folks. If you could do me a favor, hit that like button, smash that subscribe button on your way out the door. Really, really helps me out. And it is a good victory tonight for the fellas. We'll do it again tomorrow right here on your Locked On Nuggets postcast. Have a good Sunday night, folks.